It is Monday, October the 9th, 2023, another Canadian Thanksgiving episode of the show that won't go away. Of course, we're talking about At Home with James. I am James. You are you. We are here for another festive episode 451 now in the history books. I mentioned this last week. I want to mention it and reiterate it again tonight. We've been using this Halloween intro music for the past couple years, but every time it plays, it's got kind of a bit of a rip-off Monster Mash sound, generic Halloween music that would be in a haunty house, but then it takes quite a disturbing turn. And it feels like our techs aren't quite sure when to bring me on, so I get brought on in the moment where it goes, oh, just very bizarre, unhinged Halloween sounds. Now, what was that music playing? That was quite fun. Can we bring that back? Oh, it's the same song. I thought it was a different generic. The beginning is bum, ba bum, ba bum, ba ba. It's kind of like the Munsters or the Addams Family, but then it feels like it takes a really shocking and upsetting turn. Let's listen in. Yeah, this is like, it's like you think the movie's going to be fun during the opening credits, and then it goes to the scary part of town where the disgusting family lives. And I am the patriarch of that disgusting family. Tonight is Turkey Day on At Home. And trust me, we have got a main course with all the fixins. We're going to have some dessert later on. And when I say dessert, I mean Dimitri Kyres. Ooh, we're going to have our main course, a real plump turkey named Cathy Fagan. Easy now. But we're going to begin with some Thanksgiving soup. They have soup at Thanksgiving. I can't say that I've ever been one to celebrate Canadian Thanksgiving, but we're going to begin with our entree, our appetizer. And you can't say the word tease without thinking of a true legend in the world of At Home. Of course, we're talking about the one and the only making his return for the first time in a long time, Thomas the Tease Barnwell. Thomas, happy Canadian Thanksgiving.
Happy Canadian Thanksgiving. I love that intro music.
Yeah, not bad. Would you like to hear it again?
Yeah.
Now, we carefully selected that song because we thought that its sound reflected your personality.
Exactly. It's like a nice lead up. You get
Yep.
some anticipation going, and then it's over before you know it. So,
yeah, it's short and to the point. Well,
yeah.
Canadian Thanksgiving, for the most part, has come and gone. In many ways, this show is almost the turkey sandwich of the night. After you've had your meal, perhaps you've watched some Canadian football. I don't know if that's part of Canadiana. Thomas, of course, as an American, you get to enjoy two Thanksgivings, one in October, one in November, and you come as a guest to the show every Canadian Thanksgiving. So it's very good to have you back again.
Well, it's great to be here. Thank you.
Well, it seems like things have taken a somber note. You're coming to us from it seems like a very dignified location. I feel like you've just summoned me into the family room to sit me down and give me some type of bad news, or perhaps, I don't know, punish me for something.
Yeah. That's this is where the beaver got all his lectures.
Well, I guess in this instance, I am the beeve.
Yeah. Yeah, you're the beeve.
Well, I guess it it only stands to be fair that I ask, how was your Canadian Thanksgiving?
Well, James, I didn't really celebrate this year.
Okay,
So
so that kind of makes two of us, and that I never really celebrate. How did it feel to not celebrate Canadian Thanksgiving?
um it what can I say? I feel lost at sea.
Yeah.
So I'm
Well,
in the
consider me the buoy to bring you back to shore.
okay. I'll whenever.
Whoa, easy now. When you woke up today, were throughout the day were you thinking like, oh, it feels weird not to be celebrating Canadian Thanksgiving, or was it just another day?
Well, I don't know if I should reveal this on your show, but I'm at my parents' house.
Mm-hmm. Which is not in Canada,
It is not in Canada. It's in South Carolina,
which is
and
very un-Canadian.
yeah, it's pretty much as un-Canadian as you can get.
Yeah, now there are some American places that I feel they have a Canadian feeling, maybe like upstate New York could be a little Canadian, perhaps
Yeah,
Vermont could be Canadian, perhaps some parts of Minnesota, maybe
yeah.
even a bit of Michigan, but yeah, South Carolina doesn't have much of a Canadian slant, I can imagine.
No, but interestingly, I was at the mall yesterday and I bought a shirt,
Mm-hmm.
and it was at the Gap, and they were trying to push me into getting the credit card, and I
Mm-hmm.
said, well, I don't live here, and she said, oh, where are you from? I said, I live in Canada, in Montreal. And she said, oh, happy Thanksgiving. So she
Oh,
knew.
so the Americans knew that Canadian Thanksgiving was on the horizon.
Well, this young woman knew because her mother was from Edmonton.
Okay.
So
Well, it's nice to see the folks south of the border keeping track with our national
yeah,
holidays.
exactly.
Now,
So
what would you have done had you been in Canada for Canadian Thanksgiving? Now, I know you mentioned you weren't sure if you could reveal you were not in Canada, but I want this to be an open forum where we can reveal such salacious secrets.
okay, well, I'll tell you the whole story if you want, but
I'll enjoy a story.
okay, well, I uh, I normally would make a turkey on the
Mm-hmm.
Sunday of
Yep.
Thanksgiving weekend. This year, I just supplied the recipes to my wife. So just texted me, and I texted her back how to make these things. So clearly, she doesn't celebrate Canadian Thanksgiving either. So
Now, were they sending you photos throughout the day? Like, oh, turkey's coming along. Check out the spread. Here's the pie. And while
no,
you
no,
sitting in a chair by yourself.
yeah, no, I was I was just doing stuff around the house, and I got no information except for the
Wow.
occasional text saying, "How do you make the parsnips?" or "How do you
So
do
they
this?"
totally boxed you out until it was time to be a resource.
Exactly, exactly. And you
So
know what?
you got no evidence of the finished product. Nothing.
No, they didn't even do a
Wow.
FaceTime. It was just an audio call. So,
Okay, so at least you got the call though. So you were included in on Canadian Thanksgiving by way of an audio and or traditional phone call.
right. It was just after the meal had been
Yeah.
eaten. So,
And you're telling me you didn't do anything to celebrate today. You didn't go to the store and buy a Swanson's Hungry Man TV dinner, a couple pieces of turkey with a brownie or some cranberry crumble with a side of dried corn.
not only that, I didn't even eat dinner today. So,
Wow. Well, you know what, Thomas? I don't know if you and I have ever been more aligned on Canadian Thanksgiving. Neither of us celebrated. We've been spending the better part of the day inside and
yeah,
alone.
yeah.
I have not eaten dinner. You've not eaten dinner. Neither of us have celebrated. So, in many ways, you're celebrating Canadian Thanksgiving in the way that I always do when I famously am not able to attend the dinner that you so graciously invite me to. Both of us were boxed out of your Canadian Thanksgiving family dinner.
Exactly.
What's it like to live life as James right now?
Uh, it's, I don't know if I can put it into words. It's just whole new vistas have opened up to me.
Yeah, I appreciate that you could refer to the way that I live as a vista.
Yeah. Yep. And
Well, I want to jump right in here and say, in order to celebrate Canadian Thanksgiving, I did a little something that's not necessarily Thanksgiving based, but it is Canadian based. I decided to purchase myself a Tim Hortons coffee for the show because I was feeling a little bit tired. So I guess this is my time where I can formally cheers you to a happy Canadian Thanksgiving.
you know what? I'm very tired too, so I
Mhm.
shouldn't be drinking this glass of red wine, but cheers.
Oh, you know what? Well, cheers, chin chin, as they happen to say. Now,
Yeah.
how long are you going to be in South Carolina for? Are you going to be there for American Thanksgiving, or will you be back in time for American Thanksgiving north of the border?
Oh, I should be back in time. I'm coming home on Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm coming back here Tuesday, and I don't. So the whole big story, I don't know if I should tell you to might bring down the mood of the show.
Here's the thing: I'm not sure there's ever been a mood,
Okay.
good or bad. Someone said to me recently, and I quote, I watched an older episode of your show, and I am not quite sure I understand the appeal of it.
Wow.
So maybe it's time that we turn a corner and this becomes hard hitting.
All right.
All right. So we're about to get a serious story.
Okay. Yes.
All right. It's that seemingly that's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Well, I've been here since June. You
Yes.
knew that. So,
Yes. I knew that.
and a couple of days after I arrived, my father took a turn for the worse health-wise. He was perfectly fine when I got here. And in
I just want to jump
fact,
in. Before you said that, you snickered a little bit.
uh, well, I was snickering because I remember actually you sent me a text to be in the Dr. Ruth uh, show
Yeah,
at
the game of good sex.
the Game of Good Sex. And I was actually at my father's bedside in the hospital when you sent that to me. And uh, I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it.
You know, it's interesting, right? As someone who sends a lot of invitations and booking requests, we lose sight of people's lives and what they may or may not be doing in that moment. And usually we get, oh, I can't be there for the show, I've got obligations, or I've got another show, I'm going to a concert. I can safely say to you that at no point in the over 10 years of booking people for various types of shows did I ever think or wonder, am I sending this message to someone while they're on the at the bedside of an ailing family member?
Right. Yeah.
And of all the shows to be requested to be in, it could have been, hey, Thomas, do you want to do the big book of improv? Hey, Thomas, would you like to do Would You Rather? No, it had to be, hey, Thomas, you want to be in Dr. Ruth's Game of Good Sex?
That's right. It was well timed.
Well,
And
I'd like to
so,
formally apologize.
oh, that's okay, James. But yeah, so then my father eventually died in August, and he took a big, I don't know if I told you this part. So it was just a rapid decline, and he cognitively, he he was fine when I got here, and like
Yeah.
four weeks in, he didn't recognize his own house, the house that I'm in now,
Yep.
and and for some reason he thought we were in show business,
Well, not
and
entirely wrong, right? Because you could say, well, Dad, I got a big part in Dr. Ruth's Game of Good Sex coming up.
which I had to pass on because you're
Yeah, your big break.
so so yeah, my favorite. So like we were having like there was a visiting nurse and a therapist, physiotherapist coming to the house and stuff. And he for some reason he thought these people were like producers and scouts looking
Mhm.
for locations, and like the physiotherapist would get him up and he'd say to me, he'd whisper to me like, where am I supposed to stand? I don't know my lines and all
He's
this
looking for his
stuff.
blocking. Yeah.
Right. And so I said, you're fine, just follow whatever she tells you. And
Yeah.
but at dinner one night, because he would ask me, he'd say, how do you make money and if you're in show business? And
Yeah.
And
Well,
then he
I
asked,
want to jump in here now. As someone, look, you're a well-trained practitioner of improv. Do you feel that having those skills made a difficult situation like that easier? Were you able to just kind of chime in and say, well, in show business, you just got to work hard? Or was it kind of trying to strike that balance of validate it while also trying to be like, well, no, we're not in show business. How did you cope with that?
I tended to go with it,
Yeah.
you know, and it was easier, and it obviously, in his cognitive decline, it revealed some, I think, desire to do some acting maybe
Well,
at some
that's what
point
I
in his
was going to
life.
ask. I was going to ask, did your dad at any point in time wanted to perform? Because I think sometimes because I've had family members deal with similar situations, you think, well, is this part of their previous life, or is there something that they had wanted to do and now it's manifesting itself in this moment?
I think that's what it was, because he was a huge fan of the movies, and he
Mhm.
knew like every old movie you could think of, and all this guy did this, and he knew all their stories. And so I think that was, just manifesting itself, like you said, as a desire to
There's
be in
probably way
acting.
worse ways to go out, I think.
Yeah, well, this may be one of the worst ways. I don't know. He said to me, like, he said, uh, do I use my real name? Do I have a stage name? He said to me, I said, yeah, I have a stage name. It's James McGee.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
I'm sorry to say that it hasn't brought you any fame, and in that same sentence, that makes two of us.
yeah, well,
How did he like that name?
he thought it was a fine name. He thought he liked
Great.
it. Yeah. He said it
Wow.
sounded rugged. I said, well,
Well, that's an honor on my end. Well,
there you go.
given this updated information, how are you doing these days?
I'm fine. So, yeah, it's just been like kind of stressful because
Sure.
as he declined, I was providing all the care basically.
Hmm.
And I originally came down to help them move into sort of an independent living situation.
Right.
And, you know, he went south, and then it was going to be assisted living. And then my mother
Hmm.
was going to be in assisted living, and he'd be in memory care. And so finally, he died, and we got my mother into assisted living, and trying to deal with legal issues with selling the house, and I'm not a U.S. resident, and it's becoming complicated. So
And now it seems like you're basically squatting in the house.
yeah, so I got to be out by 2 tomorrow. So,
I hope this becomes one of those news stories.
yeah, it
Like
may.
former American, current Canadian man refuses to leave parents' home. Demands Swanson's Hungry Man TV dinner.
Dinner. Yeah.
So
So
I think you were in town recently though, weren't you? Like as early as a couple weeks ago?
not even a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it was a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I was in I had to come up.
Yeah, you did it. You were in an improv show. And then I saw the picture. I thought, I guess Thomas is back. And then when I reached out to you to do this episode as we do every year, you're like, well, I'll be out of town. I hope that's okay. I thought this guy's
Yeah.
already gone again. And now you're coming back and you're going to leave again.
Yeah, there's all sorts of nonsense going on with the lawyers, so I gotta get paperwork for them. But in the I came back. I knew there was a 3PO. Joe absolutely made me come up to do 3PO.
Yeah, which is a local improv show, a local
Right.
improv competition. And you're saying that friend of the show, Joe
Joe
Conto,
Conto.
despite the hardships that you're going through, family affairs, legalities, says, hey, I know you're dealing with deaths in the family
Hmm.
and ownership of homes. You've got your mom in assisted care, but we could really use you back here in Montreal for this improv competition in which the audience votes for their favorite set with
With
Legos.
Legos. Yeah.
And you'd think he'd maybe understand as an American who has to cross country travel, but he doesn't.
Well, Joe's got his eye on the prize, and
Yeah, which I believe is what a couple $100.
I think it's up to 500.
It's up to $500.
It's at least 250.
Well, okay, so
250.
it was kind of split in between what I said and what you said. I said a couple
No,
hundred.
I see Dimitri.
Dimitri's giving us a production note, and by production note, I mean he's indicating it with his hands and fingers. Well, maybe if you guys win this $250, Joe would be so gracious to give you his portion of the winnings to kind of make up for all of these airplane tickets you've been buying.
Yeah, maybe. But also I had to come home because our house is still upside down up here because the basement flooded. And
I believe the last time you were here, we were talking about how your basement flooded during that terrible downpour in the spring.
Right.
Didn't it now?
And it flooded again.
It flooded again. I remember, I think the last time I saw you, you had told me, oh, it actually Thomas, I hate to say this, 2023 is not your year.
Exactly.
Now, are you feeling like 2024, it can't come soon enough? Are you one of these people who thinks when the calendar turns, it's like, remember in 2020?
COVID.
Yeah, when everyone thought, oh, we just got to make it to 2021. It went from, just give it 2 weeks and we'll flatten this curve to when we switch it from December to January, this dreadful 2020, it'll be in the rear view mirror thinking that somehow one day would change everything compared to the next.
Exactly. And I didn't fall for that. So
yeah. I wouldn't have imagined. You don't strike me as a sucker.
Well, I guess I'm a sucker for some things. Like I'm a sucker for you, James.
Well, let me ask you this: do you have any idea of when you think you'll be back permanently?
Permanently?
If you had to eyeball, because when we spoke about it, I think you were looking at some point in middle of September. Obviously, that's kind of out the window. You did happen to visit. Is there a date in mind that you're like, I want to be back in town to deal with this basement business by this?
Yeah, so we actually got a contractor and signed contracts, and so that should be taken care of. And I want to be back by American Thanksgiving for sure.
Wow. Now I think you've got a pretty good window because we're looking at, a little bit less than 2 months away for American Thanksgiving. I feel like, given the fact that you were not able to celebrate Canadian Thanksgiving, you're going to go all out this year.
Right. And, that was my father's dying wish. He said, he said, do you think James is going to make it this year? And I said, I don't know, Dad. I don't know. But yeah, wait, I think I see him coming up the walk with the pumpkin pie. So
that would be a true miracle, considering that pumpkin pie, not one of my favorite flavors of things, but if it was your dad's wish, I feel like it wouldn't be right for me to defy those wishes, especially considering he thought I had a rugged and professional sounding name.
Yeah. So,
I will say, as we begin to wind down, I remarked in my own brain, like, wow, I haven't been guilt tripped once by Thomas. This sad story has really provoked one of the more meaningful moments in show history. And then you've hit me with one of the greatest guilt trips I think I could have ever, well, I guess I couldn't have ever, I could have never imagined.
Well, there you go. What can I say, James? It's absolutely true.
Wow. Well, this gives me a lot to think about.
Really? You have to think about it?
Well, I meant to think about it in the sense of like,
I mean, it was my father's dying wish, James.
It's like I got to think about.
What do you have to
think about the feelings that it brings on. I have to think about my previous year's behavior because, it's a heavy thing to be hit with on Canadian Thanksgiving. So I mean, I have to think about it in the sense that it makes me feel my feelings. Certainly not greater than the feelings you may have had in that moment. I'm not trying to say that my feelings are more important in this difficult situation.
You're not trying to say that?
No, I'm definitely not trying to say that. I'm not trying, and I'm not.
Because it seems like you're trying to say it.
No, in fact, as a token of my appreciation, I would like to we don't have the date scheduled, but I'd like to, as a counter invite to you inviting me to American Thanksgiving, I'd like to invite you into the next Dr. Ruth game of good sex. It's really the least I could do during these trying times.
Okay, well, maybe you before you send me the invitation, just check whether I'm at the hospital with somebody.
I think I've really learned my lesson from my previous show invitation. So I think starting today on this 9th of October, 2023, I'm going to pledge to be more mindful when I invite people into sex-based comedy shows and where
Yeah.
they may or may not be in that moment.
Well, sounds like a good policy, James.
Well, I think so too, and I have only you to thank you for that. I owe you for helping me build this new policy of mindfulness and care.
Oh, well, that's good. Then my father didn't die in vain.
I was about to say that I don't know if I've ever laughed more in any segment than this one, and then I thought about the subject matter, and I thought maybe that's a bad thing, but then I said it anyways.
Yeah.
Well, Thomas, I guess is a good point to say thanks for stopping by and happy Canadian Thanksgiving, and really appreciate this conversation tonight.
Me too. Thanks a lot, James.
Have a good Canadian Thanksgiving, Thomas.
Bye. Take care.
Could you imagine pouring your heart out with this like story of people passing, people close to you, and then you say goodbye and you leave to is it like bad to say that that conversation may have been my favorite Canadian Thanksgiving moment of all time? Me and Thomas have joked around that he is future James. And as someone who also has a deceased father who likes to periodically make jokes about it, I don't know if there's ever been a truer moment in which Thomas might be future James. Well, let's keep Canadian Thanksgiving rolling with the at-home show's resident expert in everything that is cool, here to tell us how to have a cool Canadian Thanksgiving. It's the one and the only Cathy Fagan. Cathy, happy, cool Canadian Thanksgiving. Where are you coming to us from?
Hey, James. I rented out the Cineplex Theater to watch the most recently released Saw 10 movie.
Wait, so you're in the Cineplex Odeon Scotiabank?
Yeah, I'm at the...
And the movie's playing right now?
Just finished.
How was it?
It was pretty good.
Yeah? What are you, you're a big fan of the franchise?
I haven't seen 60% of the movies, but this one I just had to go see because it had an okay score on Rotten Tomatoes. It had the best Saw score in Rotten Tomatoes since any of the Saws were released.
Okay, so you're saying go for it. It's a movie worth seeing?
Yeah, maybe.
I want to ask you, what did you think of that conversation with Thomas and his story? Was it cool?
Yeah, I gotta say, I was feeling a little bit nervous about following up that conversation.
Did it make you a little emotional? Did you have a cool cry?
Yeah, I had a little cry, but you won't see these tears. Not behind these glasses.
Why did it make you a little bit nervous to follow that?
Yeah, it was just a heavy subject, and we like to keep it light.
Well, did it make you feel like, you know what, after I get done this segment, I should give my dad a call?
Yeah, I think I will give my dad a call.
Isn't it really late in Newfoundland, though?
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock.
Will he be up when this show is done?
No, he won't be up, but I'll call him tomorrow. We
Okay,
talked today.
well, see, that's kind of a nice thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, Cathy, you're here to talk about what makes and what can make Canadian Thanksgiving cool. I want to start by asking, are you traditionally someone who thinks Canadian Thanksgiving is cool?
It doesn't hit the same way as American Thanksgiving.
No, it's not even close. Now, I've had this conversation with American friends in the past. What I really like about American Thanksgiving is seemingly it feels like once November 1st hits, the Christmas creep is in full force. They take a break from Christmas to get into Thanksgiving. Then they go right back to Christmas. It's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
it's
There's
like a month long.
parades. Yeah.
Yeah. Like a whole thing for like a whole month. It's just your whole life becomes about Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I think that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I also think that's very cool. And additionally, there's like so many different events. It is interesting though that our Thanksgiving is on a Monday, and I almost feel like that might be the one advantage Canadian Thanksgiving has, where you either get Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or alternatively Saturday, Sunday, Monday off, where American Thanksgiving is on a Thursday.
Yeah, but they also get Friday off a lot of the times. I'm pretty sure for our work we get, because I work for an American company, we get Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, obviously off.
Okay, so and we're getting confirmation from Thomas in the background. So if anything, they're getting a 4-day weekend. We get a 3-day weekend. Okay. Now we're coming in from the chat. I think this is the first time chatter. I don't know this person. The real LP is Canadian Thanksgiving the same, or is Thanksgiving the same throughout Canada though? Quebec might be an outlier in that we don't really care that much about Thanksgiving here. I can't say for certain about other provinces or territories.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think that I noticed that people here don't celebrate it as much, except the Anglophone people that I know.
Is that true? Because I don't recall ever celebrating Thanksgiving growing up at home. I think me and my mom sat down and had a turkey, or excuse me, a ham dinner once, but I don't know where else anyone, the remaining members of my family were. I guess they chose not to observe that year. And since then, I've had exactly 2 Thanksgiving dinners, about a decade ago with a couple buddies, and a few years ago with friends of the show, Sima Ahmed and Pat Gordo. Other than
Yeah,
that, not an observer.
no, my partner and I think now looking back at this weekend, I don't think we wished each other happy Thanksgiving. And
And
in
people,
fact,
yeah, but that seems unusual. People who were dating, hey, baby, just wanted to call and wish you happy Thanksgiving.
yeah, maybe it's just not that cool.
I mean, I can't imagine that I could call someone that I was with and say, hey, just wanted to call and wish you we have a cozy Thanksgiving. And if someone called me and said that, I'd ask, is everything okay?
He also did explicitly say, I don't give a fuck about Thanksgiving.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Now swearing at Thanksgiving, is that cool?
That's pretty cool.
Well, you're here to give us some examples of ways in which people can make Canadian Thanksgiving cool. There's still some time. There's about an hour and a half left. But also, this gives people time to plan almost a full year in advance, only a few hours shy of a full 365. So, Cathy, what do you have on tap for us in terms of tips, tricks, and how-tos in order to make Canadian Thanksgiving so cool?
Yeah, James, I've got about 4 things that I think are worth bringing up.
Nice. Okay, you think they're worth bringing up, and you've got about 4.
Yeah, I got about 4 things that I think are worth bringing up, and we're gonna
Now,
queue
I
them
would
up.
say the casualness in which you're approaching this is very cool.
Yeah, I I don't usually like to call attention to that on myself, but I do agree.
Okay. Well, then I'll call the attention for the both of us. Here we go. Let's see one of the few things that could make Canadian Thanksgiving cool. Now, if you're listening to the show with the window on another screen, we urge you to pull the player up. As we've now got our first image. Now, Cathy, what can you detail here? This looks like it could be perhaps a couple, a brother and a sister, perhaps a mother and son.
Yeah, this one is a representation of the first point I want to make, and that's having healthy boundaries around Thanksgiving time.
Okay. Could you go a little bit further into this?
Yeah, you can see in this image, we've got a guy, he's got his arms crossed. Clearly, he's not happy about something. And usually that's what happens when you don't set your boundaries up front. So this Thanksgiving, you're hanging out with your family. You got an uncle that wants to give you some kisses. You got some aunts
and
that
as what we say in Quebec, an oncle cochon.
Uncle cochon.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
mon oncle cochon, like a pig uncle, a pervert, a weirdo, the type of guy that's gonna pull you in a little too close for a hug.
Yeah.
Remember, isn't it kind of insane that we lived in a time where many people would just have a pervert uncle?
Yeah.
It was almost an identifiable, like, oh, it's Uncle Gary. Watch out, he's got a heart on.
Yeah, I don't know if I had a pervert uncle, but I definitely knew people who had,
Yeah,
weird uncles.
I didn't have a pervert uncle. Maybe on my, I'm not going to say this for certain, but if I had to guess, I'd say maybe on the old man side there was one or two pervert uncle cochons.
If you don't know a pervert uncle, it means that you're the pervert uncle.
Oh, well, what if you don't have any nieces or nephews? All right, well, let's get back into the image, Cathy. There was a moment I thought, is Cathy frozen? So, okay, so you want to set a boundary with your pervert uncle. How do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to just be about physical boundaries. It can be about, the food you like and the food you don't like. But
Yeah.
if your uncle comes up for a big kiss, you can do one of two things. You can say, "I'm just not feeling that right now," or you just turn your head. So
Yeah, and you get it. So is he coming in for a kiss on the lips?
yeah, maybe, or even on
What
the
about
cheek.
families that kiss on the lips?
Yeah, I've had that conversation before. I think it's okay up until you're about 8.
Yeah, I sometimes I worry if I ever end up with like nieces or nephews that they're gonna want to kiss on the lips after. I don't really want to kiss on the lips ever.
Not even when they're little babies.
No, it's very intimate.
It is intimate.
And
Yeah,
in today's day and age of social media, anything can be spread as misinformation.
that's true. You never kissed your mom on the lips?
I'm sure I did as a youngster, yeah.
Do you remember the last time you kissed your mom on the lips?
I cannot recall. I'd probably very young. I don't like this conversation. I'm setting a
I can't.
boundary right now because I don't like the delivery in which you're asking with the sunglasses. Do you remember the last time you kissed your mom on the lips? Wait, are you drinking wine too?
No, no.
Well, we
I
can't
can't
see
see
it. It's due to the projection room at the Cineplex Odeon Scotiabank. Okay, so
darkness.
setting boundaries at Thanksgiving with your family or otherwise.
Yeah. Can we go to
All
the
right.
next one?
Yeah, let's go to the next one. So that is ways to keep and make Canadian Thanksgiving cool, setting boundaries with your family or loved ones as we now move on to the next one. Yeah, this is awesome. Cathy, would you like to detail this? Because I certainly don't want to steal your thunder in describing what we're seeing right now.
I think it's cool to dress your turkey up before you put it in the oven.
Okay, so we've got a turkey here. It looks emaciated.
Yeah. This is just one example of what you can do. I think, adding some personality to your turkey before you decide to roast it.
Okay, so we got a pair of Blues Brothers sunglasses, a cig, as well as a dog, an army dog tag. So this turkey's reporting for duty.
That's right. Again, you can choose whatever style you want, but I don't think enough people personalize their turkeys, and I think that's something we could do a little bit more often.
All right, now if you had to give this turkey a name, what might it be?
Doug.
Doug the turkey?
Yeah, this is Doug.
All right, now if you were to dress up a turkey, what might your turkey wear?
I think I'd put
A
googly
thong?
eyes. Yeah, I put little lingerie on it. I put a couple googly eyes on the front face, and then maybe draw a little tongue right at the side
Okay,
of
so
the
you're
turkey.
gonna draw on your turkey that you're gonna eat.
Yeah, probably with a
What is your drawing device?
Sharpie.
A Sharpie. So all right, well, I want to coming in from the chat a couple things that were brought up. This is coming from High Score Run in relation to the movie that you saw, Cathy. High Score Run writes the sexiest of all the Saws.
It's true.
Thomas Barnwell, who's not only appearing on the show tonight, is in the chat referring to your partner, your boyfriend. He writes in relation to your special person, quote, his girlfriend fell down the stairs. This is a story that's been talked about on the show. You ate Thanksgiving at Thomas's home once. You fell down the flight of stairs, and we were talking about this off air.
That's true. I fell down the stairs at Thomas's house.
Also coming in from the chat, I think this might also be a first time chatter. Hans YC says, quote, this turkey looks like it's having a good time. They also write, happy birthday, James. Not currently my birthday, but I did have an impromptu birthday celebration. My birthday was over a month ago, which, Cathy, you were at earlier today.
That earlier today.
How would you, would you say that it was a cool time?
I think it was cool because it was raining outside and there was a group of people who decided to show up despite the rain. And I think that
Yeah, that is
showed a
cool.
lot that showed a lot of tenacity. It was a very cool gathering.
And
Plus there was
let the record
cigarette.
show you also asked, as the event was winding down, I had a handful of loose hot dog buns. You asked me if I planned to bring them home in my ass.
No, I said, are you going to bring those home and put them in your ass?
Oh, right, my mistake. As opposed to put them in my derriere and walk home, was I going to go home with them, and then when I got home, lock my door and shove a bunch of hot dog buns inside my anus?
Yeah, I'd also like to note that that James, there were some leftover hot dog buns, and James took the hot dog buns and loosely threw them into a bag that he was carrying his belongings or their belongings in.
Yeah, this is really, there's a lot of details being left out here. I had a lot of belongings and decided I need to carry them. Let me put them in a hot dog bag, but I'll carry the buns. The worst part is people will believe this.
Yeah, because it was true.
Coming in for the chat, the real LP. Did you? No, I didn't put hot dog buns in my ass. And then High Score Run writes, to each their own. Cathy, let's go to the next image of what makes Canadian Thanksgiving cool. Oh my God. I will say this this right now is my favorite episode in many weeks. What are we looking at here, Cathy? It looks like a young person, probably early 20s maybe, looking at a debit or credit card. What's going on here?
Yeah, she's checking her bank statement and she's paying off debt. So I think probably one of the coolest things you can do this Thanksgiving season is to make sure you pay off your credit card.
Now, I couldn't agree more. Do you want to know that the Royal Bank of Canada, the bank that I'm affiliated with, one point many years ago sent me a letter congratulating me on having one of the best credit scores in Canada?
Holy shit. Do you have
Is
a
that
credit card?
cooler? You know what? I think that makes me a catch. Because the older you get, I think people are looking for stability in their life. And I think that with the help of the Royal Bank of Canada, I became a catch to the opposite sex.
Hey, I have to let you know that you give off the impression that you don't own a credit card.
Yeah, I think that unfortunately, due to some or a variety of reasons, I seem like a person who would have a filthy home, smell like cigarettes, drink Labatt 50. I wouldn't be allowed to have a credit card. This is an episode right here. The misconceptions of James. Cathy, what do you think there's other misconceptions about me? And don't be shy. You tell me right now. In addition to not having a credit card, at one point I had 2 credit cards.
Yeah, I think that there's a misconception that you're asexual.
You think this is going around, Cathy? Are you telling me this is going around?
No, but I think that it's just like a perception. Maybe nobody's really talking about it, but I think that
Cathy, be honest. Are people talking about it?
No, I think that people don't even like break the subject of like James's dating life or James's like romance. Does he date? Is he like hooking up with people? Like I think that conversation doesn't even like come up. And I think that's why.
Well, for anyone that wants to get some real in-depth, perhaps Easter eggs or secrets, Danielle Davidson made her first appearance on the show a few weeks back on my birthday episode, in which she read my star sign, something like that, some astrological thing, and it was a shockingly accurate and one of the most uncomfortable moments for me on this show. So if people are looking to dig for information on what I may or may not be into romantically, but I will say I cannot sit here and claim asexuality. I'd be co-opting other people's preferences.
I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just saying that maybe that's a perception. It could be just as false as you drinking Labatt Light at home.
All right. What I'm not sure if there's a Labatt Light, but perhaps there should be. Are there any other misconceptions you think might be going around about me?
Oh, that's a great question. I'll have to get back to you. I don't know, but I'd love to know what that reading was, that star sign reading.
Well, for anyone interested in watching it, if you go to our YouTube page, which is linked on the main page right here on twitch.tv/@homewithjames, you can see that episode as well as many more. So being financially responsible and paying off your credit card bills on time is cool, especially when there's a lot of spending going on with groceries and such around the holidays.
Yeah, we did have, I want to go back to you asking that question because we've got a few notes from the Zoom about other misperceptions about
Yeah. Would
James.
you like to read some of the production notes coming in from our production assistant, Devin? Devin is coming in hot. He's having a field day with this. How about you read them from top to bottom, Cathy? Because I think you'll have more fun reading them than I will.
Yeah. Okay. So the first one is incel. Number 2, he wears jeans in the shower.
I don't even wear jeans.
Number 3, drinks hot dogs. That's true. That one's. Fourth one is half dog. Yeah. Smokes napkins. Loves older women. Yeah. I also think that's a I don't know if it's a misconception, but it's certainly a.
Yeah, it's gone around specifically because of this show. And that's how I know when people say, yeah, I don't really know what the appeal to your show is. Yeah, the appeal is people are able to spread nasty rumors about me.
Into ass bun play, and my favorite one so far. Doesn't wear condoms.
Yeah, that was early on, and I can pinpoint the episode. It was James live from the bathroom, in which it wasn't doesn't wear condoms, it was refuses to wear, which you look back now, that's a very damning thing to say about somebody. Hey, did you hear about James? He not only loves older women, doesn't own a credit card, shoves hamburger buns in his ass. I think he wears jeans in the shower, but worst of all, refuses to wear protection.
Yeah.
Now coming in from the chat on the show, High Score Run writes, no pants on right now. They don't call him Raw Dog James for nothing.
Are you wearing pants?
Yeah, I'm wearing pants. Yes.
That's cool.
Thank you. How about we go to the next image?
Let's do it.
All right. So we'd like for people who might be listening once again to divert their attention to the player. Now this is very cool.
Yeah, this one's pretty cool. This is the final image that I have for this Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is illustrating somebody who forgot it was Thanksgiving. Yeah, he just got told it was Thanksgiving, and he had.
And he's like, wait, hold the phone. It's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so he looks like naturally blonde hair, aviators, a maroon leather jacket. I think this is probably a tank top underneath. It's also a stock image that I am going to assume you screen captured. Cathy, I have a question. Do you think this guy is a hottie with a body?
I think he's got the right attitude, but he needs to age a few years. He's a bit too young.
Okay, how old do you think this guy is?
I think he's 21.
Okay, now Cathy, if I may ask, what age are you?
29.
29. So 21, a little bit too young for Cathy.
Yeah, this is where you're going.
So you're saying you might be into older guys.
Yeah. I don't think that I'm into 21-year-old guys. I don't think that's very cool.
Well, I don't know. It seems like you guys have a lot in common.
What makes you say that?
Well, you're both wearing sunglasses. You both lean them on the bridge of your nose, and you may or may not forget it that it's Canadian Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's possible. I feel like I would mentor this man.
Okay, so what tips would you give this guy? And what do you think his name is? I say it's Corey with a K.
Yeah, actually, that's
or a Q.
I think you can read people pretty well. Yeah, it's Corey, maybe with a Q, but he changed it to be that way.
Yeah.
I think he quarry, like
yeah, like a quarry, Quarry.
Yeah, I don't know. I would probably, he needs a little bit of facial hair. I think his jawline needs to work on that a little bit.
How's he gonna work on that?
You can do jaw exercises.
It's true. Yeah, you can like bite down on tension accessories.
Hey, listen, there's actually a study that came out, and you might want to look into this yourselves, but that if people who breathe through their nose, or it's either you breathe through your nose or your mouth, but if you breathe through your nose, then like you have better facial structure than if you breathe through your mouth.
I would say that I primarily breathe through my nose.
Yeah, so
but I've got quite a pronounced jawline.
You?
Yes.
Can you give us a look at your profile?
Well, I mean, I had a mustache for about a month and a half. I think my face was on pretty good display.
I think I might have a strong jaw for a lady.
Were you turning to talk to someone or just to show your jawline?
I
Yeah,
wanted
let's
you to
see
do
it.
this.
Yeah, let's go back to that profile.
I want to see yours too.
Well, I mean, mine's you're not gonna see because currently I have a beard, but
It's a pretty good profile.
okay, so yep.
Where does Thanksgiving rank in terms of holidays of the year for you?
For me, or generally speaking?
For you, not in generally speaking.
For me, well, I would say not high. It would probably be Christmas is certainly number one. And then I would say everything else falls into the like a much like that what was that like tier ranking system that was popular at some point? It was like A, B, C, D, and then the S tier, things like that. You familiar with that, Cathy? Well, I think like S tier is like the top of the food chain. I'd put Christmas there, and then I'd put everything else at the bottom. It doesn't rank high at all. I didn't grow up celebrating it, so if there was a default number two, it'd probably have to be Halloween, but even Halloween, I don't have a ton of reverence for. If anything, this show has forced me to celebrate Halloween. As you can see, I've got some decor behind me.
That's cool.
Where does it rank for you as we begin to wind down?
Yeah, probably pretty low on the list, honestly. I would say it's like Christmas, Halloween, then a couple other holidays. I'd say Easter's even further up. No, maybe not. Maybe not Easter.
Is Christmas your number one, Cathy?
Yeah.
Well, you were here last year for the 2022 At Home with James tree lighting when there was a party in my home, and then everyone left as soon as the episode was over.
Yeah, that's true. You didn't ask us to stay.
Well, I just thought it was implied.
You said you don't have to leave.
Well, to recap how to make Canadian Thanksgiving cool, we've got setting boundaries with your cochon, mon oncle. We've got having a, I suppose, fiscally responsible, habit of being. We've got dressing your turkey up in a fun costume, and when you realize it's Canadian Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's forgetting about Thanksgiving.
Well, Cathy, I have to say this might be one of your greatest cool appearances ever.
Thank you, James.
Well, I thank you so much for being here, and I'm sure that we'll run into each other soon, and I'll be able to tell you about some of the misconceptions that were created about me because of this. Whoa.
Cool.
All right. Bye, Cathy. That's Cathy Fagan as we begin to wind this episode down. Remember that we do the show every single Monday right here at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/athomewithjames. We've got so much Halloween programming coming up, and there's a specific episode coming up that I'm particularly nervous about, and I wasn't sure if I was going to promote it tonight, but I feel inclined to because sometimes it's important for us to pursue the things that scare us the most, the things that we sort of avoid, and that's going to be happening in a week from tonight as part of this programming. And without any further ado, 1 week from tonight, to celebrate Thanksgiving month, it is Satanic Desires on the At Home with James show. So if you're into the adult side or eroticism of Halloween, the Satanic Desires episode of this show is going to be right up your alley and far away from mine. Let's move on to our third and final segment of the night. We can't do it without tonight's technical director. It's Dimitri Kyres, coming to us from a pumpkin market. Hey, wait a minute. That's Thomas's intro song.
I wanted to try it out. I just wanted to try it out.
Well, Dimitri, happy Canadian Thanksgiving. We were around each other earlier today. You were, for a second consecutive year, grilling up Canadian Thanksgiving meats. I have to thank you for spending your time doing that before going to your family meal. It's very sweet of you.
It's an absolute pleasure to facilitate a hallowed event, I would say. A very important event, which is your birthday and fall and getting you all greased up and hot dog stuff. I didn't know you stole or were doing stuff with the buns when you got home.
I didn't do anything with the buns. Contrary to popular narrative, I did not put hot dog buns in my ass.
James McGee didn't shove a hot dog bun up his ass?
Yeah, can you believe it? If
Next,
anything, that negates the fact that I would be asexual. Another alleged rumor.
next you're going to tell me that you didn't invite Barnwell to be on Dr. Ruth's Good Game of Sex.
Well, I did, and I happened to do it during a very inappropriate moment.
What do you mean?
Coming in from the chat in regards to the buns, how else would James keep them warm?
Yeah, that's how you get toasted, is they put them up in your ass.
Yeah, that's how famously a Quebec toasté is prepared.
Oh.
The guy behind the counter sticks one where the sun don't shine and it comes out crispy and crunchy.
You're disgusting, man. I don't know why I come
Dimitri,
on this show
we're taking
anymore.
a little break in our Halloween programming. I know there's a pumpkin behind me. I know we began with the spooktacular music, but we're celebrating Canadian Thanksgiving as we do every year. And I wanted to prepare something for you that I received no more than an hour before coming on the air.
You received, who did you receive it from?
Well, we're going to get to that in a second, but I'm sure that you can recall recently I showed you, and I showed really the world, especially the viewers and the audience of this show. There was a new restaurant that opened with Greek delicacies, and it seems that this restaurateur, and of course you know something about being an entrepreneur in the restaurant business, has seemingly veered away from just opening restaurants and providing the city of Montreal with delicacies. It seems like they've got a line of products that are seasonally appropriate.
Seasonally appropriate.
Yeah, and it's someone that you might know. Are you ready to go through these items that are not only great for Canadian Thanksgiving, but they're really great for the entirety of fall and autumn?
Well, if I know anything about owning a business, is you gotta be adaptable, flexible, and ingenious. So you gotta adapt to the time. So whoever this person is, it sounds like they're smart. So let's see how they're making the most out of this fall season.
Yeah, so I want to reveal because this was asked to me, hey, can you promote my product tonight? This is brand new, hot off the presses. Let's show this first promotional advertisement.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I want to know what your initial thoughts are on Asaf King Size pumpkin spice cigarettes. I know that you're not much of a smoker. We've got some seasonal promotional imagery here.
I want to know something.
It seems that in addition to opening a Greek restaurant, our friend Andy Asaf, and former technical director, sometimes technical director of the Substitute Nature, has decided to get into the cigarette game.
Yeah, well, king size, much like Andy, he is king sized.
Yeah.
So appropriate. I see the pun. I see the I see the double entendre there. Here's my big thing with this carton.
Yeah.
What's he pointing at?
I think he might be pointing to the. He's pointing to the logo off to his left.
Right, but it's not going to come with the logo on the side. It's just going to come with the carton.
Yeah, it's a very discreet box of cigarettes.
What's he pointing to? What's on the back?
Maybe he's pointing up to the cigarettes, like smoke now.
Smoke one of these.
Yeah. Now, Dimitri, you've smoked a cigarette before.
I've smoked a cigarette before.
Have you ever smoked a cigarillo or a menthol?
I have. I've smoked a cigarette that had a flavor with it. Yes.
Okay, now what is that like? A flavored cig?
It's kind of nice. Like a menthol cigarette is a nice kind of change of pace if you don't want to have the full nicotine experience. So it kind of adds a little bit of like a little light tastingness to your cigarette, similar to having a cigar and wanting to experience a different flavor of smoke. But something tells me that this product...
Well, we know that pumpkin spice is an incredibly popular flavor profile. I would say that Starbucks had a lot to do with the pumpkin spice latte.
Huge.
There's pumpkin spice desserts. I've even seen pumpkin spice dog food. It seems like Andy wants to strike while the iron's hot. He's probably thinking about, well, there's pumpkin spice everything. Let me break into the cigarette game with Asaf King Size pumpkin spice cigarettes. How do you think you'd enjoy this as a fan of the pumpkin spice flavor?
Well, I'm not a huge fan of the pumpkin spice flavor. I like the pie. I like a pumpkin
I don't like
pie.
it at all. I don't care much for pumpkin anything.
That's crazy to me because you seem to have good taste and stuff.
Well, yeah, I would say, good. What does it mean have good taste in desserts? I don't know. I just find it tastes oily and a little mealy and just too pasty.
I think it's
I can't imagine that it would translate well to a cigarette flavor.
No, it would taste awful. What part of this are you getting? The taste of a gourd, or are you getting a spiced flavor after you exhale from the
It's probably got it's got nicotine, of course, tobacco. It's got the taste of pumpkin. It's probably got nutmeg, cinnamon, cardamom.
Does this get you more sick than nicotine or less sick?
Well, apparently there's a, like in regular cigarette packages, there's like, some unfortunate imagery of lungs and skins and teeth.
Yeah.
On the back of Andy's package, it's just people enjoying themselves.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, warning, may attract white women with large brimmed hats.
Ooh, easy. Well, what do you
Broth?
think? Would you try a Saf king size pumpkin spice cigarettes?
I'd try one because
All right.
I'm tickled by
You want to
the
support
idea.
your friend.
I want to know what he's poining at, and if my friend
Yeah.
seems this was taken without photo looks like it was taken without his permission.
Well, one could argue that all of this is without his permission, but let's move on to the next item that Andy's going to be launching this month.
Oh.
I think this one comes out tomorrow.
Oh Lord, what is this?
Now,
again,
Dimitri, famously, I'm someone who refuses to wear these.
I've heard that.
I can't speak to these. What do you think about Asaf Pleasures? Not to be confused with Asaf King Size. This is Asaf Pleasures home style mac and cheese flavored condoms.
There's so much wrong. There's so much
Why?
wrong with this.
Why?
There's so much wrong with this. I'm gonna start with.
I want you to list everything that's wrong with this.
I'm gonna start with the name. Asaf
Yeah.
Pleasures.
What's part of Asaf Industries?
Yeah, I understand that, but I don't equate to having sex as an Asaf pleasure.
Well, you will now.
An Asaf pleasure is smoking a carton of cigarette, eating
pumpkin spice cigarettes.
Yeah, sure. Eating a bowl of mixed meats and mayonnaise, and then falling asleep on the couch at 3 p.m.
Yeah, but then you're being awoken by your lover saying, "Let's go to bed. Come on, you guys get into bed.
Let's go to bed, baby. You ate all the mayonnaise. Let's get the mayonnaise off your cock."
Yeah, but then it's like, "Oh, I'm still hungry. I could go for some mac and cheese."
Yeah, home-styled mac and cheese. Who's home?
Yeah, this ain't craft dinner. This is the mac and cheese. It's got a variety of different cheeses, some crumble on top.
What makes this home-styled?
Well, it's the flavor profile.
Yeah, what's the flavor profile of home-styled?
I think it's 4 cheeses.
What kind?
A few different cheddars. I know that, and maybe some strong Gouda.
So explaining the idea of this to a partner, and explaining to the fact that you're going to have 4
everyone likes
styles.
a nice home style mac and cheese around Thanksgiving
but
and
not
fall.
in people's orifices.
This is comfort food, man.
You're shoving 4 different kinds of cheeses in people's holes.
Well, I mean, it's flavored, so it doesn't,
All right, last one. The condom color is disgusting.
Well, it's mac and cheese.
Yeah, it's yellow.
What do you think about the packaging?
Yeah, this is my last and biggest qualm. This is not the face of... I was going to say something else. This is not the face that makes me want to put a condom on.
So you're saying you wouldn't go with the home style mac and cheese flavored condoms from exclusively from Asaf Pleasures? They're only available during the month of October.
This condom is going to make more babies than any
Why
product.
is that?
Because when you reach for your drawer and you look to see, oh baby, hold on a minute, let me just get some protection on, and the only thing you got in the drawer is this guy looking back at you, and it smells.
Look at the smile.
And it smells like 4 different kinds of cheeses.
Well, I've got some of the notes here, the promotional notes. Apparently on the box, it's because we don't have the box yet. It says you'll be begging for seconds.
Oh.
And that sounds like it won't be too heavy of a mac and cheese flavor, because mac and cheese very heavy meal.
Does the condom need to get like reheated in the microwave before use?
That sounds like a great idea. We'll let Asaf Pleasures know.
I didn't know I was reviewing these. I didn't realize I was giving notes to Mr.
All right,
Asaf.
let's go to the third and final product that Andy's going to be launching. He had Asaf King Size. He's got Asaf Pleasures.
I'm not impressed so far, but let's give this last one a shot.
I'm impressed by the gusto that it takes.
Right. Again,
so he's also going to be having a line of alcohol. This is Asaf Signature Liquors. Roasted turkey and thickened gravy schnapps. Now, Dimitri, have you ever had schnapps before?
I have had schnapps before.
How would you detail the schnapps flavor? Because there's different types, but yeah.
Schnapps is like it's a little sweet, right? I'm not wrong about that. Something about schnapps
I
is a little
wouldn't know.
sweet. Yeah, schnapps is a little sweet. When would you put schnapps in something? Like I put a little schnapps in my coffee, and I think it comes in many different flavors. I think I remember seeing cherry schnapps at some point. So yeah, they come in different vibes. I don't think I've ever seen one having the flavor profile of roasted turkey and thickened gravy before.
Well, you don't want a thin gravy at Thanksgiving.
No, you certainly don't, but I don't think you need a thickened gravy and alcohol either.
Now, I can't speak to this. You're telling me you wouldn't enjoy Asaf Signature Liquors roasted turkey and thickened gravy schnapps?
Who is this for? Is it to be drunk or is it to put on meat?
I think you have a couple shots of this roasted turkey and thickened gravy schnapps, and then you open up the box of Asaf Pleasures home style mac and cheese.
And then
condoms.
too much of this
and then when you're done and you're fully pleasured, you have one of those Asaf king size pumpkin spice cigarettes.
Yeah, too much.
You should really consider a combo pack.
Well, it's the new food group, I think, is all three of these things. Because of course, when you're done with the condom, you can eat it, right?
Yeah, you just suck the flavor out, like when you're finishing off like a popsicle on the stick. Like, I really taste all those cheddars. Mild, aged, and marble.
Yeah, what were those 4 cheeses again?
Mild cheddar, aged cheddar, marble cheddar, and Gouda.
Oh.
And it's got panko on top.
Oh God, it's crumbly.
It's a bit of it's a bit of. When you bite into like a crunch bar, it's got kind of the popping Rice Krispies. It's like that with it's a panko lined condom.
It's crumbled for her pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is disgusting.
You wouldn't enjoy some of Asaf's signature liquor.
I don't know what to do with this bottle.
What do you think? What do you think about the bottleneck, that label?
I keep seeing this fucking guy's face everywhere. Everywhere I look, I see this guy grinning at me, and what's killing me is I know this is the face from the pointing picture, which again is telling me what is he pointing at?
It's also the face from the condom wrapper.
I know it is.
But I think what happens is, right, you take a sip of the bottle, pull back, and you see his smiling face. It's like a buddy. You got a drinking buddy on the bottle.
This is not a good photo of Andy.
We'll take it up with this Asaf Industries.
Like, clearly this was taken of him outside of a show after he got done doing 3 shows in one night. He's grizzled, he's tired, he desperately needs one of his king size cigarettes. And this is the photo.
And maybe a nice stiff drink.
Yeah, with thickened gravy and turkey. Look, this bottle's not for me. It's also not.
It sounds like none of it's for you.
Well, here's my problem. It's false advertising. That's not the color the schnapps is going to be when I come buy this. It's going to be thick with gravy. It's going to be brown.
Well, I don't want to accuse Andy of false advertising, but coming in from the chat, High Score Run writes, quote, is the target market mon oncle cochon? So if you're a perverted uncle, all of these products, Asaf king size pumpkin spice cigarettes, Asaf Pleasures home style mac and cheese, crumbled for her pleasure condoms, as well as Asaf signature liquors, roasted turkey, and thickened gravy schnapps. That's perfect if you're a perverted uncle.
Andy's
who might be here on the Quebecois side.
Yeah, Andy's like the Orville Redenbacher of perverted mononcles.
Yes. Oh, yeah. He's giving you the flavors that you so desperately need during this autumn month. Well, it sounds like these types of products are not going to be enjoyed by you or maybe very many people this autumn season.
Look, and I don't want to be a bummer or a shtickler or something else. Sorry, I've had some drinks myself. I don't want to come off as a bummer. I love what Andy's doing, and I do think that fall's an underutilized market. Like, I think there's lots to be tapped there. So I don't know. For me, I would love to see him try to tap into the cider market, the warm cider, spiced cider market. I don't know, like oats and I don't know. I'd like to see him try. Everything that he does is perverse and depraved.
Yeah. Okay, so you're saying maybe like oats or the cider market.
Yeah, I like maybe he has something with the condoms. Like, I don't want to be too harsh, but maybe there's something to the condom idea. But
Thomas is coming in. He's got some help. I think maybe Andy could use him in some market research. Thomas writes, thick and gravy schnapps, the salty schnapps.
Yeah, it's true. There's never been a salty
maybe
schnapps.
a nice glass of salty schnapps with your pumpkin pie.
Look, that I can get on board with.
Well, it sounds like Andy's got some work to do. There is still many weeks left in the fall. Dimitri, final thoughts before we call it a night. It's been just an incredible Canadian Thanksgiving.
It has been, James. It's been great. The cozy season's upon us. This is a real kind of brief moment where we get some nice cool weather. You warm up with some friends, some family, some loved ones. You get a nice tea going. It's a great time to get in some books or some video games or some TV. Yes. It's a great time. Summer's passed. We had our fun. Slow things down a little bit, and let's drink some rum. Yeah, I think it was great. This was a great episode. And that's it. Yeah, nothing else to say, James.
Well, while you're here, Dimitri, we'll go through the month that will be on this show. I mentioned it earlier. Your ears were probably perked up when I mentioned that next Monday we're back to our Halloween programming, Satanic Desires.
I'm very excited for this episode.
I knew that you would be.
I didn't even program it. I didn't even hear about it. It just came out of the blue. Normally, and you know this is the way it works, James. If anybody, I'm going to give everybody just a peek behind the curtain right now.
Please.
James and I talk about what we want to do in the month, and we schedule things. Here's the weird part. No one scheduled Satanic.
Yeah, it just showed up.
On the GCal. James nor I scheduled that episode. So those who are maybe interested in spirits, ghouls, curses, witches, and warlocks, or specters and spectral whodunits and mystery.
Yeah.
You might want to be a part of that episode.
How do these hot dog buns end up in my ass?
Oh, sure. How do they show up in your ass, James? Yeah. Not that kind of mystery, because we all know how that went. But if you want to know other kinds of mysteries, you might want to take a look at that episode, because, again, something spooky might happen.
Yeah, that's 1 week from tonight. 2 weeks from tonight, it's the return of the Halloween of Horrors. Ooh. So we're putting everyone loves this on the show. It's a panel, a variety of Halloween topics, each scarier than the last as the wheel spins.
I hope I don't shit my pants.
I also hope that for everyone. And then we're capping things off on the 30th. We talked about it last week. It is the 2023 pumpkin carving competition. Some of the competitors have been confirmed.
Whoa.
The judges have been confirmed. I can't wait to crown a new champion. We had last year's champion, Cathy Fagan, on the show. Dimitri, any thoughts going into this year's pumpkin carve?
Every year is blood sport.
Yes.
Every year is a battle. This is really the height of entertainment. We have not done anything better on At Home with James than this pumpkin carving competition.
We have a chance to.
We have a
chance to, because 2 days before the pumpkin carve, we cannot forget 8:30 p.m. Montreal Improv in the heart of St. Henry. It is At Home live and in person too. We have been working on this show. Maybe I reveal something now.
No, James.
Maybe I do it.
No,
maybe we'll do it live.
No, we spoke. Hold on, we spoke about this off, and I said to you, don't talk about this. All right. I said, don't talk about this because we don't.
The Satanic Desires may be taking me over early.
What are you doing? What are you doing, James, right now?
The show in March was so special, right?
That was the best time we ever had.
People came up to me and they said, you should do this more regularly. And I said, yeah, you know what? Maybe. But deep down, I was scared, and I was nervous that if we did do it again,
you can say what you want.
Couldn't do it as good as we did the first one.
You're speaking from your heart, and everybody can tell.
And then when we announced and confirmed the 28th as live and in person too, I thought, how are we going to top what we did in March? And that's when it came to me.
Sometimes
you can't have
sometimes it comes.
Halloween without the things that people love the most about Halloween.
It's spooky, it's scary, but you need something else.
Yeah. Not only do you need tricks, but you need treats. And that's why on the 28th, for the first time, as far as I'm concerned, in entertainment history,
come on,
not only will there be a show, but during the show, there will be live trick or treating. At any moment, the doorbell will ring. People will knock. they'll get on stage looking for their trick or treat in the middle of a show. I mean, come on. It doesn't get more Halloween than that.
Anybody who wants anything could get it.
So there's a way to top March, and we're going to do what we can. We're going to do our damnedest.
I want everybody to make notice. You all bear witness to something we've never done before. Come all to the gathering of the specters and ghouls and leave with a treat, but leave with something more. You're a part of a family. James?
Mm-hmm.
God bless you.
And God bless all of us. That is the 28th of October. But until then, this is Tonight. I am James. You are you. We were here. Good night, goodbye, farewell, be well, and happy Canadian Thanksgiving.
Whoa. Whoa. Oh, this song is scary, James. Book that episode.